Alrighty, so we're getting ready for game number 3 of the World Series, and we want to get started by pointing out it is a best of 5, so it is the League Championship game 3 of 5. This is game 3. If we get 3 wins, we win the series. We also want to point out, Logan, we are very sorry. Logan, we are sorry for calling you out on our managerial questions. We were a very emotional state after losing game 1, and we want you to know that we love you and thank you for tuning in to every single game. Alright, we are getting ready to get started here with game number 3 in the loading screen. That's what you like to see. You love the loading screens. There it is. Melonheads, runners. Game number 3. The runners have some guys not playing their best. The Melonheads have some players hitting well. Let's see how this game works out. The Melonheads are going to continue their lineup. They have Ernie Steele pitching. Ernie Steele has not been what you call the most phenomenal pitcher. He did get hurt earlier in the season. He did have some decent pitching performances down the line, but he's going to start this game off by giving up the leadoff hit. You hate to see it. We are playing on the Switch, and I am not using the controller. I like the handles for the controller. I'm just holding them, and it feels very weird. You hate to see that. We have one out here. The little pop-up. We really need this catch. Oh, almost got it. Almost pulling it back. Here we go. Foul ball. Strike number 2. We need Ernie Steele to get the big punch out here. The slider on the outside corner. This is going to be popped up into foul territory. Stephanie Morgan going to camp underneath it. Out number 2. That's what you like to see. That's how you get out of this jam. Let's see if Ernie Steele can pitch his way out of this. A good inside pitch there. Now he's going to go outdoor with a slider. Strike 2 called. Here comes the cut fastball on the inside. Maybe got too much of the plate here. Not the best location. This ball is heading towards the gap. Keisha Phillips not going to make the play. She almost comes down with it. Maybe misjudges it. He's sliding into third, safe with the RBI triple. The runners have a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first inning, and they have a runner on third base. So let's see what happens here. The ball may have been misjudged by Keisha Phillips out there. Little weak ground ball. Catcher picks it up. Out at first base. Gets out of it, only giving up the single run. All right, let's see if this Melonheads offense can put something together here in game number 3. Dante Robinson hits a ground ball to short. Out number 1. That is unfortunate. A lot of good innings for this Melonheads team has started off with base hits out of Dante Robinson. When Dante struggles, the offense seems to struggle as well. Oh, and there's Pete Wheeler back to his old ways of popping up those high pitches. You hate to see it. The patience is gone. The skill is gone. Ugh. Oh, there you go. Pablo Sanchez is going to get a 2-out base knock. He continues to hit the ball well. That is what the Melonheads need, and he continues to provide. Here's Keisha Phillips. She's batting .417 with a home run and 4 RBIs in this playoffs. Been a big part of it. She was not a big role player till very late in the season. While she has been a pretty big role player here in the playoffs, she's going to send this to the gap. They're going to call each other off. Out number 3, the runners are going to win inning number 1 with a 1-0 lead. Here's Ernie Steele out for the second inning of work. This ball is hit hot to Keisha Phillips in the right field. She's going to camp under it. Out number 1. Walt Wolf at the plate. Facing off against Ernie Steele. Here's that curveball. He's going to get a hold of it. Keisha going back at the wall. Out number 2. That ball was scary. I was worried it was going to get a little too much, and it was just short, and that's exactly what you need if you're the Melonheads right now. Ernie Steele not pitching phenomenally, but missing the bats just enough that they're not hitting it over the wall, which is a good thing. Almost out at first base from right field. Not quite, though, and the inning's going to continue. Ernie Steele trying to pitch his way out of the second inning. I make that sound like he's in trouble. He's not really with a 2-out base knock. Strike 3, swinging. Logan likes the swinging. That one was for you. Here's Amir Khan, who has hit pretty well here in the playoffs. Oh, that's up the middle, and Amir Khan continues to hit well. He leads off the inning with a base hit. You'll love to see it. Here is Tony Del Vecchio one of the better players in this playoffs, as well as he's one of the best RBI guys. I believe he has 5. He lines out to right field, though, with a hard hit ball, out number 1. The shortstop is tense out there. You hate to see it. Here's Jocinda Smith. Huge part in the turnaround for the Melonheads. Is this blooper going to fall? No, the second baseman's going to make a good play. So Jocinda Smith was a big part of this Melonheads turnaround this season, but has not played a big role in the playoffs. And that's big time disappointment. He's going to try and go first to third here. There you go. The 2-out base hit out of Stephanie Morgan. I think in the playoffs here, you're going to pull. I don't even know. We're pulling him. Ernie Steele being pulled for the fan favorite, Mikey Thomas. Let's see if Mikey Thomas can do something in the playoffs here. He's being patient. He's been working with the hitting coach still on being patient. 2-0. This is when Mikey Thomas hits his best. 3-0. Mikey Thomas 3-0 count. Consider that a successful pinch hit. Mikey Thomas walks the bases loaded now. And here's Dante Robinson. Big time player for the Melonheads this season. Dante's going to shoot it into the gap. You got to think Mikey Thomas comes up huge with that walk. And Dante, 2 RBIs, gives the Melonheads the lead. You absolutely love to see it. And here is Pete Wheeler, who has also hit pretty well here in the playoffs. He does a good job holding up here. He takes that pitch. That was a strike. He probably should have swung, but he didn't. Pete Wheeler, 1-2 now with 2 outs. Can he continue it? Pete Wheeler's going to shoot it past the shortstop, and Dante's going to hustle. He's going to try and make it home. He does! Pete Wheeler comes through with the 2 RBI single. That is what he is in the lineup for, and this right here is also what he's in the lineup for. So his 2 RBI single now turns into him in scoring position, and a chance for Pablo Sanchez to drive in another run. And this is how the Melonheads have scored runs all year. Those leadoff guys coming through, the stolen bases, and Pete Wheeler does exactly that. He's going to score because of that stolen base, and it is 5-1. And now the Melonheads seem to be clicking. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Melonheads fan. Keisha Phillips gets a hold of this ball to deep right center field. Out of here! See you later! 7-1 Melonheads, and just like that, the Melonheads are murdering this Runners team. You absolutely love to see it. The Runners came out and scored first, and the Melonheads have not looked back ever since, and are now putting numbers on the board, making the Runners. Gotta be a little nervous if you're a Runners fan. You gotta be. You've been watching good ball all year long, and now they've met the Melonheads, who have just got their number in this series. The Melonheads, after Game 1, have just manhandled the Runners. A completely different series. If you watched Game 1, you would think the Runners, the best team in the league, had the answer to beating the Melonheads. Well, the Melonheads came back and said, sorry, your record during the regular season says nothing because this is postseason ball, and they are ready to stick it to them. Keisha Phillips catches over and runs over and catches that ball. Here's BB. BB at the plate with 2 outs, trying to get something working for the Runners. Ground ball over to first is Ahmed Khan. Ahmed Khan going to run over, make a nice play. Out number 3, and the Melonheads now have absolutely shut down this Runners team. That ball's going to be popped straight up. Hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it, as you'd really like to see another big inning. Here's Jocinda Smith. Despite not producing here in the playoffs, she has found herself still in the lineup, and the Melonheads have found themselves on top once again, despite one of their best hitters in the regular season not producing. Here's Stephanie Morgan, just all around been a solid ball player this year. Gonna ground out to second base though. Out number 3, and the Runners finally have an answer for this Melonheads offense. Jocinda down the line, it's gonna be foul though. Jocinda makes a diving attempt, can't quite get there. Here is Sydney Weber trying her second inning of work. This ball is going to be flied out to Keisha Phillips in right field. You'll love to see it. That's 1 out. Here we go. Sydney Weber, hot ball down the line. That's going to fall. That ball is going to find the wall. I am not controlling my left fielder at all, and so I had to wait for the computer to go over there. So a 1-out double for the runners, and maybe the runners have something working here. They're anticipating that pitch. It's going to be a slow roller to Pete Wheeler. Good play, out number 2. Pete Wheeler makes a solid baseball play there. The changeup had him fooled, but he did not swing. This Melonheads team has all around just completely turned the page from what we saw in the first half of this Backyards Back series. And now this Melonheads team, strike 3, looking, whoo, Melonheads looking great. A solid inning of work out of Sydney Weber again. I'm not sure why she's batting here, but we're going to let her hit. I don't know. Who cares? She pops it up to the pitcher. You hate to see it. If anything, we probably should have pinch hit Amir Khan, and let him pitch as well. Dante going to ground out to short. So the runners, other than the one inning, have pretty much also shut down the Melonheads offense. But looking at the scoreboard, you wouldn't know that this game has actually been pretty close other than one inning. And Pete Wheeler is going to ground out to second. And here we go. Melonheads in this last inning now. They're going to bring in Amir Khan. And he's going to try and close out game number 3 for the Melonheads. The crowd is on their feet here in game number 3 as the Melonheads are trying to put themselves in a situation where they only need one more win to win their first championship. That's out number 1. The Melonheads 2 outs away. That ball is flied out to center field. Dante giving chase, calling off Tony Del Vecchio. 1 out away from a game 3 win for the Melonheads. Strike 1 called. Fastball high. That ball's going to be shot up the middle, so it will not be a simple 1-2-3 inning as the runners have a little 2-out life here. That kind of took a little bit of the life out of the crowd, but they are back on their feet here in the last inning of the game. Possibly the 5th. Hot shot to Jocinda. That's out number 3. And the Melonheads are now only 1 out away from their first ever championship in the first season in the historic league. There is your stats for the game. 1 big inning out of the Melonheads was all they needed. And that is exactly what they did. Keisha Phillips is your number 1 star. You love to see it. Tune in next time for the Melonheads' chance at their first championship.